When you think of Marilyn Monroe, you think you know her, right? The ultimate icon. But what if I told you that behind that dazzling, famous smile, there was this whole other story, a really hidden story of struggle? That's what we're going to get into, using J. Randy Tower Borelli's incredible biography to uncover the real Marilyn. Okay, look at this. This is the Marilyn the whole world fell in love with. I mean, the glamour, the confidence, just that pure, unfiltered star power. At the height of her fame, she was, and there's really no other way to put it, the most famous woman on the planet.
But on this one night, May 19th, 1962, even at the absolute peak of all that fame, she felt completely, totally alone. You see, that image of triumph, it was often just a mask for something much darker going on behind the scenes.
So, what was really going on? How do you reconcile those two things? The global icon and the terrified woman feeling so isolated. What was the secret behind the spotlight? That's the question we're diving into. All right, so let's set the stage. We're at Madison Square Garden for JFK's birthday. This is a huge deal. And on stage, Marilyn is just breathtaking. But this performance, this single night, it really shows us the deep, deep cracks in that perfect, glamorous image she presented to the world. This was a real moment of crisis for her. You have to understand, her circle of friends, it had gotten so small, leaving her feeling completely isolated. She was dealing with some serious anxiety and paranoia, and her behavior, which everyone just wrote off as, oh, that's just Marilyn being eccentric. Well, it wasn't. It was a sign of a much deeper crisis. So to really get to the bottom of this, we have to rewind, way back. Before the fame, before Hollywood. Because to understand Marilyn, you first have to understand the women who came before her. It's a legacy of turmoil that honestly shaped her entire life. Just look at the women who shaped her early life as Norma Jean. Her grandmother, Della, she battled severe depression and paranoia. Then there's her mother, Gladys, who was so emotionally unstable, she was institutionalized for a lot of Marilyn's childhood. And then you have her foster mother, Ida Bollender. Now, she gave her stability, sure, but she was strict, kind of distant, and didn't really provide that warmth and love a child needs. So you see, this cycle of mental health issues in her family just looms so large. It's not just that she was afraid of her own feelings, she was terrified, absolutely terrified of inheriting her family's struggles. That fear cast this huge shadow over her entire life. And that fear really started in her childhood. Her life as Norma Jean was defined by one thing: instability, a constant, really heartbreaking search for a place that felt like home. I mean, right from the very beginning, as a baby, she was put in that strict Bollender foster home. Then later, she was sent to an orphanage, which she always felt was this place of total abandonment. The feeling of not having a stable home was so intense that, get this, at just 16, she married her neighbor, Jim Doherty. And the main reason? So she wouldn't have to go back to the orphanage. Just think about that. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because out of all that chaos, something incredible happens. The birth of Marilyn. A factory worker named Norma Jean starts this amazing journey of reinventing herself into the star we all know. It really happened in 4 main steps. First, she gets discovered by photographers while she's working in a factory during the war. Then, that discovery lights a fire in her. She wants to be a model. But that ambition totally clashed with her husband's more traditional ideas. So she had to make a huge break. She files for divorce, basically choosing her career over her marriage. And finally, the last step, the creation. She changes her name to Marilyn Monroe and lands a screen test at 20th Century Fox. And that changed everything. But here's the crazy thing. The real hidden price of all that fame. As Marilyn's star rose, Norma Jean's inner turmoil just got worse and worse. It's like the more successful Marilyn became, the more Norma Jean struggled. And this is truly haunting. During her big breakthrough role in The Asphalt Jungle, the movie that was supposed to make her, she started hearing voices. She was so scared that she was going to have a complete breakdown just like her mother had. Can you imagine that pressure? So you have this stark contrast, right? The public perception versus the private reality. On one hand, you've got this glamorous icon, adored by millions. On the other, you have a woman who felt totally alone, who was haunted by this fear of inheriting her family's illness, and who was literally hearing voices while filming. When you really think about it, the icon and the individual were never separate. Marilyn was kind of like this incredible, sparkling armor that Norma Jean had to put on just to get through the day. They were two sides of the same coin, forever connected.
So that really leaves us with a question for you to think about. Does knowing all this, knowing her struggle, does it change how you see the star? When you look at that iconic image now, what do you see?